Hello and welcome to the next of our series of tutorials. And in this one I'm going to be talking to you about breaking text. There are quite a lot of examples if you think back to the examples that we looked at in class where the text was kind of broken, disjointed, shattered, that kind of thing. And it might be that that suits your series. So you may want an ident where something similar has happened to the lettering. So I'm using another one of your examples. This is displaced, and the thing that I'm going to be doing is breaking this almost as though the word has been shattered. So what I've done so far, very simple. I've chosen a fairly simple sans serif font. This is Franklin Gothic. As you can see, the text is still editable because there is a blue line underneath it. So I could, if I wanted to, double click on this word and add to it, but I'm happy with what it says. So the next thing to do, good practice, make a copy, Control-C, Control-V, and just put a version away somewhere off the artboard, just so that we can always come back to that one if we make a mistake with this one and can't undo. So I'm just going to put that backup copy up there, and this one, as with most of the effects that I've showed you, the first thing I'm going to do is convert it to outline. So convert this to a vector or a group of vector objects. So click on Create Outlines from the right click. Now we have a group here in the Layers panel. You can see that we now have a group consisting of all the letters in the word. And now I need to create a line that I'm going to use to fracture the words. Now I want to have a diagonal line that starts down here somewhere, goes up through the P, the L, maybe the A. So I'm going to create a line. And the way to do that is with there's a few ways of doing it actually, but I'm going to be using the pen tool, I think. And I'm going to come onto the artboard and draw the line that I would like to fracture along. Now once I've drawn that line, I'll go back to the selection tool and I can put that line wherever I want. So it may be that I decide to go back to the direct selection tool and alter the path slightly. Maybe I want it to sort of fracture a few more of the letters to emphasize that effect. Maybe it should come all the way up to the P. And it's just touching the top of the C there. Maybe slightly up. Yeah, I think that should do. Okay, now just to make it a bit clearer so we can see that line, at the moment the object that selected the line is telling me that the fill is white. Of course there is no fill because it's a two-dimensional object. But I'm going to swap those around so that it's a white line, just to make it clearer where that break's going to happen. And for my vector letters, I'm going to do, again, something that we've done quite a lot in these different tutorials. I'm going to turn this into a compound path. And if you have watched any of the previous videos, you'll know that doing that turns this, instead of being a group of individual vector objects, it essentially creates one vector object. So this is just one thing now. By default, when you do that, it will remove the fill and the outline. So I'm going to make the object white again, like that. And I'm going to make sure that the line that I've drawn is at the front. So right click on it, arrange and bring to front. And now we're ready to use this line to cut the text. So the first thing I'm going to do with my selection tool is select both of these objects. So just draw a marquee that touches both of them. Now in the layers panel, you can see that both the, I'm going to bring that up actually. You can see that the path that we've drawn is one object and it's on top of the compound path that is the letters. And now I'm going to go to our old friend Pathfinder. Here's Pathfinder. From the window menu, open up the Pathfinder. And we are going to choose this one. This is divide. So what divide does is wherever vector objects cross over each other, it will essentially separate and make a cut. So by clicking on divide, this happens. So what we can now see is that the line has disappeared because it was the thing that was used to cut the thing underneath it, so it's only been used in places where it crosses the letters. And what we can see now is that we've got a group that's been created. And in fact, if I click on one of these letters, you can see that it selects all of them because by default, it will group those objects together. But I'm going to click on ungroup, like that. And now what we need to do is group together everything that's below the line and everything that's above the line. So I've got the bottom corner of the P, hold down Shift for multiple selections, this one, this one, this one, the E and the D, and I'm going to go Control and G to group those together. And now what I can do is group together the other half of the word, so the D, the I, the S, most of the P, half of the L, teensy bit of the A, and just the top of the C. And I'm going to go Control and G to group those together. And what I'm now able to do, if I click on this object with the arrow keys, I can move this half of the word down. Maybe I'll offset it slightly to kind of emphasize the look. And so we now have a word that has been cut in two and is quite literally displaced. What I'll say finally is that you can do this with very complex top objects if you want to create a more fractured look. So you could create something that looked like glass breaking just by drawing the lines. So if I was to draw a complex top shape, like that. Let's use the other example that we copied. Let's bring that back in. So this is still editable text. I'm going to create outlines to turn that into a vector object. I'm going to turn it into a compound path, make it white, then take this more complex jagged shape, bring it to the front, drag it over the top in a nice position, and once again use the divide option in Pathfinder to cut up the letters, ungroup, a few artifacts left over there which can be deleted, but you can see now that I've got fragments of the letters which I'm able to move. Incidentally, spacebar allows you to move around inside your document. And we can fracture and break up letters that way. So that is how you create fractured or broken or shattered text in Illustrator. Thanks for watching.